Okay, we're recording live.
Hello, everybody. Our guest today is a TedX speaker, author, a podcast host. She is the co-founder and CEO of the wellness and walking community of 99 Walks. This episode today is kindly sponsored by North Shore Acupuncture. Feel the difference experience makes. If you like the show, please like, share, and subscribe. But without further ado, Joyce Shulman to the show. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic, and I'm thrilled to be here on what is a super rainy day in New York. So hanging out with you guys is the perfect way to spend an afternoon.
Awesome.
Well, that's wild because we have it's funny, we have kind of similar weather. We're on the opposite coast. We're in Vancouver in BC here. And yeah, we have similar weather to New York some of the time. And especially in Long Island there, we have some good friends that live out where you are. So it's just a beautiful spot. But before we get going, what we like to do is we do what we call two truths and a lie with Joyce here. So let's have some fun, Dev. Hey?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so Devin and I are going to guess which is a lie out of these several little points that I'm going to read here. Okay, number one. When I was a New York City lawyer, I got to hang out with John Bon Jovi, Julie Andrews, and Santana. Wow. That's cool. I'd like the Santana.
Maybe not.
That would have been cool. I know, maybe not. Exactly. Number two, 99 Walks is the fifth business I have built with my husband. Fifth business, that's pretty good. Okay. Number three.
Just to interject, for anybody who's ever contemplated working with their partner, I'm sure they're all going like, yeah, that can't be. And she's still married? Not possible.
Wow. Yeah, she's setting us up though, Deb. She's setting us up. Okay. Number three, I walk 75 intentional miles each month. Wow. 75 intentional miles. So that's interesting. And there's one there, it's a bit.
It's not that much.
And then there's then there's a last one here. Is my favorite movie is Forrest Gump. She likes to walk and run and
should I start quoting a little bit of Forrest Gump for you guys? Would that be helpful?
I think Devin knows it backwards.
So that, give me a little credibility around this.
That's right.
I can my Jenny with the best of them.
Yeah, well, see, she's setting us up again, Dev. She's leading us down the wrong rabbit hole. So what do you think, Devin?
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Let's go with maybe you hung out with Bono and Julie Andrews, but not Santana. So maybe there's a trick in that one. I'm gonna go with number one.
I see. Okay.
I'm gonna go with number one.
Number
Lock
one.
It in for 100.
Okay, I'm gonna say. I don't know. I'm gonna say 99 Walks fifth business is not with your husband. With your husband is not true. So yeah. Okay, so drum roll.
You guys ready?
Ready.
Yes.
So my first day of work at a new firm. So I worked when I graduated law school for about a year at a big New York City firm. And then I moved to more of a specialized boutique firm working for somebody that I had known as a summer job. And my first day I arrived and he said, come on, we're going downtown. And I said, where are we going? And I'll spare you the details because even though it was a long time ago, and we went downstairs and there was a limo out front and I had no idea where we were going or who we were going with. And we got in the limo with Carlos Santana.
Nice.
And then later in my career, I did represent John Bon Jovi and Julie Andrews, and it was all very, very fancy and exciting, but I chucked it all 20 years ago to start my first business in partnership with my husband, and we are 5 businesses in. So you guys, there you go.
We blew it.
Terrible.
Wow.
Terrible form, Nudge.
I know, terrible form. Yeah. I don't know, man. Oh, so what was the so we got like Forrest Gump, and we've got what's the other one there? Oh, the 75 intentional walks. Because that I thought
Miles.
yeah. Or miles. Yeah.
Miles. It's actually closer to 50 most months for me.
Dang.
I find that that's sort of
Oh,
my sweet spot. But
okay.
my work is really focused on this idea of intentional walks, meaning when you sort of carve out time for yourself, right? Like step counting is one thing, and
Yep.
just trying to get more movement in your day. But like you guys live in such beautiful country
Mm.
that I'm sure you've experienced the power of just walking away from your computers and your work and being out in nature for whatever period of time. It's incredible.
Yeah, we're just really fortunate. And, I think especially over the past 18 months or more, it's been probably extremely difficult for a lot of people, especially in the bigger centers, bigger cities, like New York and Chicago, where it may be a little bit more difficult. I mean, I know my wife and I, we're fortunate. We were living at Whistler here for the
Mm.
year because our house was getting all fixed up and stuff, and it got stalled and whatever. So, but we would go every day. Like we'd hike up in the mountains every day, and we were in the best shape of our lives, and
Yep.
and all mentally and physically. Like, and you know what's really cool right now is that we're getting into the fall, and it's mushroom season. We'd hike the trails, and in the fall you realize the mushrooms start popping out. And I'd never been into mushrooms before, but last year we were collecting, and we were looking up on books. We kind of we had some stuff back and forth with the Naturalist Society of Whistler. I never dreamed I'd ever do that and kind of get into hunting for mushrooms in the forest. But it's a gas. Like we were out every day, so it's extremely powerful. Sorry, Deb.
Well, I
Yeah.
know you always said, Nige, too. You were like, every time you go like have a meeting with somebody, or you're having like a business meeting, rather than sitting in like the boardroom or sitting wherever and just like
Yeah.
having the conversation, like the stale boardroom, like get out and have a walk, go for a nice walk and have the
Yeah.
conversation then, right? And everything's are just more fluid, and you're gonna get more on friendly basis, and yeah, it's just nice, right?
So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
so much brain science that goes along with what you're saying, Devin, around the
Mm,
power of walking with someone and what that does to your communication, your
Yeah.
creativity. It's
Yeah.
just extraordinary.
Yeah. So I'm just going to break here for a second because we can go down the walking path, which
mm.
we can go down the walking, we can go down the walking path.
There's so many walking
There
puns.
we
You
go.
start,
So many
yeah, I know.
walking
It's,
path. Oh my gosh.
well, what's
But what
step
about, I
one,
want to
Nigel, in
know,
the conversation? What's step one?
I just want to know, so New York, you're a New York lawyer, right? So you're in the city, and that must have been pretty, high intensity. I know you're meeting guys like Carlos Santana and whatnot, that's the cool side of it. But then there's the tough side of it, right? There's the grind. What made you, take the step, take the leap, take whatever it was, and say, okay, I don't want to do this? Because so many people are stuck on that treadmill, and we get used to it, and we have we have the income coming in, and then we have our expenditures, and we get stuck in that, and we've got family and kids, and it's just like, I can't leave this, but I don't like it anymore. I want to do something else. How did you break? How did you break and go and do what you're doing now? How did that's super tough.
So there are a combination of factors that I think go into those decisions for many people, and certainly that went into the decision for me. I
Mhm.
would say top of that list was naivete. So there's that.
Mhm.
I have an expression which I try not to use as often as I used to because I've learned my lesson, but the expression is, how hard can it be? You look at
Yeah.
other people who have done it, and I think like, here's a project, we've got to be able to figure this out.
Mm.
And how hard can it be? So that's sort of a little bit facetious around that. But a couple of things came into play. I've always been super entrepreneurial in my spirit. I actually started my first business while I was in law school with my sister, which is a terrible idea, not working with my sister. My
Uh,
sister's awesome.
uh,
But you guys know business is hard. Building a business is
yes.
hard. So trying to do that simultaneously with performing in law school was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's always been in me, though. And there's always been a calling to create something, to build something, to have an impact. And then there was a day where honestly, I was sitting around a table in a conference room with about 11 lawyers, and I started adding up. I don't think I've ever told this story. You guys are having an impact on me already. So I'm doodling on my legal pad, right? And I started adding up the billable hours of every lawyer in the room. And we were burning a lot of money. And this is 20 plus years ago. And I honestly thought, like, if you could take all of this talent and put it towards something that had some meaningful social impact, you could do something extraordinary. And it's almost like once you get that idea in your head, it's really hard to go back.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It's so true. It's so true. It's yeah, once you get into that thing, it's like every day you hop in your car, you drive to work and you see the lineup of traffic and the people going into the cities and the whatever. And it's just like the same thing every day. And it's like, where are these people going? And they're on that, we're all on that treadmill, or we were on that treadmill. And it's really,
Hamster wheel.
really, really the hamster wheel. And it's really, really, really tough to break. And I know, I guess I'll flash forward. I worked with, maybe I'll talk. Oh, there's so many things here with my coach. I had a coach. His name is Kevin Lawrence. He's based in Vancouver, but he's all over the world. And what Devin said just a few seconds ago is that the first time I met him, I had a call with him, and then I had a face-to-face. And he says, "Well, let's do a half day face-to-face." And I'm like, "Half day, okay." So I went downtown. I went upstairs into this tower, and I went into a boardroom, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. I can't sit. I can't sit in front of this guy for half a day in a boardroom and tell him my life story of all my issues that I've got to deal with. And I'm like, and I sat there with him and he started talking. And within 6 minutes, I'm like, whoa, stop. This isn't going to work. And he goes, what do you mean? He says, I can't sit here. I'm kind of ADD too in it. It says, I can't sit here. I said, can we walk and talk? And he goes, walk and talk. I said, yeah, let's go walk the seawall. Beautiful seawall around Vancouver and Stanley Park. Gorgeous. Let's go. That's about a 3 hour. We could turn it into a 3-4 hour. He says, okay. So we ended up doing that. And Kevin's told me not to tell people this, but it's out in the open now. So I met him every month. So every month for about 15, 16 years, I met, and we walked, or we hiked in the woods behind here. And he said to me, he says, Nigel, whatever you do, don't tell any of my other clients, because I'm going to be exhausted. Right. But it was just that the fluidity of that. And I don't know, I mean, and then just like you said a few seconds ago, that we get stuck in our ways, and it's really hard to break. But actually, if you just say, hey, to heck with it, I'm going to go and do it, it's actually fairly simple. And that's what happened with Kevin and I back in 2012 or something. I was able to set my business up to run without me, which is really tough, which we did. But then I had a list of things to do, and I know I'm rambling on. Sorry, it's you're the guest.
No worries.
And he said to me, he said, Nigel, there's this thing on your list. The last thing that you really want to do, it's take a year off and travel with your family. And I'm like, oh, well, I made up all the excuses in the world, just like you're saying. I've got this. We got a dog. We've got a dog. We got to do with a dog, because it's always the dog. Yeah. What do you do with your dog if you travel? And then we actually made it happen within 3 months, and we were gone, and we traveled for the year, and Devin came along, and it was absolutely incredible. But all the naysaying in my head was stopping me from doing it. When we actually did it, it was super easy.
Yeah.
So long story short, yeah. But it was a lot easier than I thought to do that.
Here's one of the things, and I want to talk for a moment about ADHD and walking, because I think you sort of brushed past that, but there's actually a really important nugget in that. And now I lost my other train of thought. So let me talk about that for a moment. I had the opportunity just a couple of weeks ago to interview a psychologist who works with neuroatypical kids. And one of the things he does often with his patients with ADHD and who are on the autism spectrum is he'll do walking sessions. And he said for kids with ADHD, it changes everything, because for people with ADHD, as I understand it, and again, like not my world, I'm just kind of repeating a little bit from this conversation, but there's a lot of energy that gets burned trying to stay still and trying to stay focused.
Mm.
And what this doctor said to me is when you go out into nature, especially, and you're moving, all of the energy that you're trying to spend staying still and staying focused is being burned in an appropriate kind of way. So, well done on you to sort of see that so early in those conversations that you needed that movement. But I just wish that more people in the world heard that and knew that. And if you're someone who is challenged by sitting still, like, that's okay. Like this whole thing where we're trying to keep my daughter started her first day of school today. She's in high school.
Yeah.
And I was thinking this morning, like, oh, this poor kid's going to be sitting most of the day. I don't think we were built to do that.
No. God, like you said, I wish I knew. I don't know, it was probably late 30s when I met Kevin, and started doing that. I wish I knew when I was, Devin's age or way younger. I wish I knew that when I was 12, because I was, like you said, and Devin too. Devin has the same, we're both ADD and dyslexic, roll it all up in a ball, make it even more complicated. But if we only knew something like that when we were younger, just sitting in that desk and you're strapped in and you're like, zero focus, whatever's going on up on the board, no idea what's going on. No idea. Just because you're thinking about, you're looking at the birds out the window, you're whatever it is. But like you said, the fluidity of that movement and the talking. Even last week, I had a meeting at Whistler, and I went over to this gentleman's house. He says, "Oh, let's come on in for a cup of coffee. We'll sit down and chat." And I'm like, "Can we just go for a hike? I know a really nice lake up above your house, and we'll go and check on your shoe." So we went, and it's just like you get into this flow. You get into this flow, and just everything just starts. It's just, for me anyway, it's a lot easier to process things and take things in. Yeah.
Yeah, and it changes the nature of your communication with another person, and the brain science around this, what they think, there are a number of things at play in that. But so interesting, if you ever watch people walking together, generally they will fall into a rhythm and they will synchronize their movements, their steps. Even if one person is taller than the other, you will find that rhythm typically. And they believe that in and of itself helps to facilitate this feeling of collaboration.
Right. Now, I was just looking at my note there, because from your TED talk, you mentioned something about is it oxytocin? Is that what you call it?
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin. That's released, I guess, when you get into that groove of walking.
Yeah. So walking releases several hormones. So dopamine, which gives you that sort of success kind of forward. You want to take the next step and keep going. Endorphins, which are nature's painkillers. We love them. Build your serotonin, those happy hormones that we all need. And walking with other people fires up your oxytocin, which is a hormone that encourages collaboration and connection. Interestingly, there is some research that suggests that oxytocin affects men and women differently.
I saw that in your chat. I was going to ask you that. That's really, I actually mentioned that to my wife last night. I said, "Hey, do you know what? Like, there's a different thing. If you walk with your girlfriend, it's different if you and I walk together." Right.
Now that's really some preliminary research, but if you think about us from an evolutionary standpoint, oxytocin is the hormone that encourages us to bond with our babies. So it's the hormone that's released during childbirth and breastfeeding for women. And if that's the case, it would sort of make sense that it makes men a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more protective than women. So the research on that is, as I say, preliminary, but that's what some of the researchers are speculating, because they are seeing a difference in how oxytocin affects males and females. Wow. So interesting, right?
Yeah. So you're saying, so two ladies or two ladies walking together, it's a different, or it can be different than two men. I mean, you get two guys going together and they want to race each other up the top of the hill, or there's that little bit of that competitive comes out, right?
Where and that's the women. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. But I noticed that you said that, walking in rhythm, because I know I know my wife and I are walking like together every single day for the whole, COVID and all that stuff here. And it's just like, we look at each other, like, oh my God, stop it. Stop it. Like we're in rhythm, like our legs are went at the same
Yep.
time. I said, this is just too, stop it. Get out of
Nope,
sync, get
do
out of
it.
sync.
No, that is everything. That is your biology trying to put you guys in sync. Embrace
Ah,
that.
interesting. Because we joke about it all the time.
Are you guys similar heights?
No, she's about 5'4", I'm 5. How tall am I, Dev?
5'11" and a
Yeah.
half.
I like 5'9", 5'10" if you push it. Yeah. So yeah, she's a little bit shorter than me. Not that
Yeah.
much.
So, I mean, normally I suspect that your strides are a little bit different. And isn't it fascinating the way that
Yeah.
syncs up when you
You
guys
would
are walking together?
that's what I think. That's what I
Yep.
always thought. I thought I got, although maybe I have shorter legs. I don't know. But she's just a march. She just marches. The kids used to call it Reiko's death march, when we go for right, Dev?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's just it's absolutely, yeah, it's fascinating stuff. Oh, and I just find that, you know, walking, even the guys in my office, like I'll go, like I have my business partner and then one of our regional managers, and then especially my regional manager, he's ADD, as well, I think. I'm pretty sure. Um, we'll go in and we'll sit in the boardroom and have a meeting. He's like, guys, let's go walk and talk. So we'll go. We've got a really nice little seawall out by our office, so we go and we just walk and talk. And it's just like, things are just so much more fluid.
Mm.
Now I think if we share this with everybody, all the sidewalks and everything are going to be crammed all over the world, because there's not going to be any room because everybody's going to be walking.
I think we're a long, long way away from that, because I think we still have this perception that if you're working,
Yes.
you are sitting in front of your computer. And if you are not doing that, you are not working.
Right.
And until we disrupt that very fundamental belief or misbelief, I think we're a long way away from when we are seeing people really making that change, no matter how often we talk about it here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the breaks are so important, because I know, like, being an entrepreneur, it's just so easy just to, day after day after day after year after year after year, and then decades go by and you're just like, and you're just grinding it away, and you're just, you can't even breathe. Like, you're just like, you forget to breathe, right? You're just going so hard. Removing yourself from that, and it can be hard to do at first, and literally going away for a week, a month, 3 months, or whatever it is, and disconnecting and refreshing yourself, and you come back with so many great ideas and so many things solved than you would if you were sitting there banging away as hard as you can't breathe, just putting out fires all day long. And that's the way I lived, like that for 20 plus years, putting out fires every day, in the shower, in the morning, thinking about, do we have to lay people off today? Can we make payroll today? Oh, we're so busy. Maybe we have to hire, I don't know how many people. Where do I hire? Like, every single day in the shower before you've even started your day, it's like,
Yep.
it's just that chaos. Then you don't have time to breathe. And I call my thing in my book, I call it the doorknob effect. I get to my office, probably like you did. You get to your office, you reach out to touch your door, and you just go, oh gosh, because it's vibrating because there's so much shit going on the inside that people are going to want you, and you turn it and you step into the bee's nest, and off you go it's absolute crazy. So to remove yourself and take a break, remove yourself and go for a walk, is probably the easiest thing anybody could do. 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk.
And here's the thing to keep in mind. And so for all of the type A personalities out there, for all of the entrepreneurs, for all of the people who are doing what you did, what I do every day, which is go, 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 go. Here's the thing. If you go for a walk, you get to check so many boxes at one time. You get to multitask with the best of them, right? Because you're doing something for your body. So you're getting exercise, which I think we all know we need. You're giving your brain the chance to refresh and build your mental energy. If you're walking with another person, you get that connection time as well. And you have the opportunity to be in nature. And as you know, and most people know at this point, there is tremendous research about the benefits of being in nature. So even for the people who are so going 110 miles an hour, I would put out there, okay, you can check all 4 boxes with one activity. So this is like the best multitasking you can possibly do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like you say, the nature in Japan, they call it tree bathing.
Yep.
And it's actually a thing, to go out into nature, and just because it's such a busy life, and to get out and just spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes in
There's
nature.
a brilliant study on recovery of patients who have undergone surgery, and they compared recovery times between the patients who could see nature from their hospital room and people who couldn't. And the people who can actually see nature literally recover more quickly.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah.
It's a real thing.
It is a real thing. I mean, I honestly believe it. I mean, we're lucky to spend so much time in nature, and I have to. I mean, I go crazy if I don't get out into the bush or go mountain biking or hiking or whatnot. I turn into a different person, and then when I come back, I'm completely. I come back to the house and I say to Reiko, I said, "Okay, now I'm ready to go to Costco. I'm fine. I'm out." I go put up with a lineups. Well, maybe not, but no.
And
sorry,
I don't think that you're that unusual in that sense. I just think that a lot of people don't really realize the profound impact of walking in nature on how they walk through their days.
Yeah.
You just you've got the clarity to see how that impacts you.
Yeah.
And I say this to people who are active, right? Like, that feeling you get when you haven't been out in nature, when you haven't moved. Imagine feeling like that every day.
Oh, yeah. Can't imagine. Yeah. And it's interesting, like for the people that are the younger people out there that have new families, new babies and all that, it's really hard to get in time to get out. I mean, maybe you go push the baby around, but I just remembered, I kind of have a reflection here that I know when Devin was like little and screaming in his diapers, and all the other, we had 3 kids, and it was really hard to get any time. I would always, I go on my own actually, late at night, when the kids were in bed. I just walk the neighborhood. I go for half an hour, 40 minutes maybe. But because I was always traveling with business too, I would have every trip. I had all my trips planned. When I came back, everything, like you said, all the boxes were ticked. And I walked back in the house, like, oh, okay, I got that all figured out. And because you step away from the chaos, you step away, and you're processing things on your own, and hopefully in nature too. But even at night in the dark, it was fine. It was amazing, very cleansing for me. It was great. Yeah.
You are not alone in having that experience.
Yeah. The chaos, the young kids are walking late at night.
Yeah, I recently was chatting with a member of 99 Walks who walked in the evening with her teenage daughter. And one of the things that she said, and walking shoulder to shoulder, when my son became a teenager and was like one of those, the transition when your kids become teenagers can be a little challenging, let's just say. And I remember reading someplace that if you want your teenager to talk to you, the trick is to treat them like a wild animal and never look them in the eye.
Okay.
And I thought, okay. But you talk to many parents and they'll say that they have the best conversations with their kids when they're driving and that sort of thing. And that's part of that shoulder to shoulder. Anyway, this woman said that she had the best conversations with her teenage daughter when they were out walking together in the evening. And she said years later, her daughter said to her, I found this peace and this freedom in talking in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah, it's powerful. That's really powerful. It's so true though. It's and time flies, when you're walking with somebody else and you're walking and talking.
Oh yeah.
Just time Yeah, there's kind of the power. I think there's a power of walking with somebody and sharing, but then there's also the power of walking on your own and processing. Yeah, it's but we just, a lot of people, we just don't have time to, in our busy life. Oh, we think we don't have time.
Yeah, I was going to say we actually really do have time.
Yeah, we do.
We really do. And the only way that you can claim that time, if you're one of those people, is to really embrace the reality that it will give you more time,
Right.
because it will literally fire up your creativity, boost your energy, and improve the way your brain works and make you more productive. So a task that would have taken you an hour, perhaps it'll take you 40 minutes because you have that clarity. So the truth is that even on like a numbers standpoint, I promise most people have that time and have to make that time, because it'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what? Wait, let me give you this one.
Mm-hmm.
So the research is that a regular walking practice can add up to 7 years or more to your life. So there's a way to get more time. You'll actually live longer.
Wow. Yeah. I'm 100% with you on that.
Right. So that, like, there's the ultimate time saver. Like, okay, now I've got 7 or 10 more years to do the things I want to do.
Wow. Yeah, I found it really powerful and it's interesting that you take these things like COVID or whatever to kind of shake us up a little bit and kind of center us. And I mean, we got Reiko, my wife and I, we got into this routine every morning, like a morning routine. And Devin helped me a lot with, with breathing, like the technique of breathing. And we got into Wim Hof. So we started with the breathing because I was having some anxiety issues, and we're doing the breathing. And then we started doing the cold ice baths, and the ice plunges. And we do it every day. I do it we do it every day for a year. Yeah, for a year. Yeah. We're not. Yeah, I know. And then
wait, Nigel, does it work? Because when you get out, you're so happy that it's over. Is that the only reason why it works?
It's actually yeah. Well, that's probably what it is. Yeah, I don't have to say it anymore. Yeah. I know everybody. So I was having some anxiety stuff, which is kind of post-traumatic, I think, is coming up because I'm now 59 and it's coming up my later life, the stuff that's happened throughout my life, from the business to all this stuff. And then Devin noticed I was having panic attacks. And so you've been looking into Wim Hof, right, Dev?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
it started with like the Tibetan fire breathing. It's like the monks used to do it. And then he took that method and mixed it with the cold water submersion. Carry on.
Yeah, cold water submersion. So I came down and then Devin laid me down on the ground and I started doing this breathing. I was breathing. And it was a Wim Hof breathing. It was like, and then it was like, okay, now we got to do the cold water. I'm like, no way, I'm not doing it. So it started with a shower, cold shower, not like warm and then too cold, like slowly, not right away. And then, then you kind of wanted more. So then we started going into lakes and to rivers here in the winter. And then we started breaking ice at Whistler, hey Dev, in the lake. Yeah. And we go into the lake and we go ski. Devin and I go skiing, and then after skiing we go and do this. And but it really, really helped with the anxiety. And then it's so what it is, it's basically we go from the walking. We've got the walking as a component. We have the morning routine as a moment and as a component. It all comes together. So mornings you get up, have a shot of beet juice and ginger, which helps stimulate the body. And then after that, then do all this kind of yoga type stretching, and then this back exercise, this foundation training, which is I don't know if you ever heard of Dr. Eric Goodman. He's out of California, and he does this. If you got lower back issues, it's really, really good. Yep. I had chronic lower back issues. And then we go into this breathing, and then we go into for the house, I bought a horse tub, like a horse feeder, and fill it with ice and water and go in there every day and stand for a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes at the most. Don't stay longer, as you'll get hypothermia. And then after that, then we go for our hikes and our walks and whatever. And it's just completely changed my life and my wife's life and Devin's life and our daughter. And we're all New Year's Eve, we're all breaking. We're lucky we have a swimming pool here and it freezes over, but so we're breaking the ice on New Year's and we're going in and everybody's doing it. And it's like all my neighbors at Whistler, everybody's doing all this because we were locked away and we were able to kind of find some new things. So I think COVID and whatnot has brought us all home.
Mhm.
And then hopefully, we've been able to kind of experiment and try some new things for our inner health and whatnot. And, walking and hiking and being in nature is absolutely at the top of the list. That's just my experience from, how much better I am feeling now than, 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's super
amazing.
important. People who have like hyperactive mindsets, like if you have ADHD or ADD or whatnot,
Mm.
to go into the ice water, because it just, if you can't sit down and meditate, and
Right.
lots of us have a hard time doing that. You just get in that cold water and you're meditating. All you can think about is nothing about how cold that water is. That's about it. So it kind of flushes everything out of, and you kind of have a whole new perspective, and you become kind of one with the element, and you're like, I'm just gotta be calm, because when I start freaking out, it's gonna be bad. But if I just relax and I just calm into this and I breathe into this, and you find your own meditation, I
Yeah.
guess. So
You hyper, like, it just focuses, it just brings
mhm.
everything right in. And then you come out of it and you're feeling like you're floating on air for at least 3 to 4 hours. It's absolutely incredible. So when Reiko and I go for a hike or a walk, we went for a really nice hike yesterday. And you come back and it's just like, okay, we have a coffee. Well, okay, we come back, but then we do the ice plunge or cold shower, whatnot. So you've been moving your body, you feel incredible. You come home and you're kind of sticky, and you could take a hot shower, yeah, okay, or a hot tub or whatever. But if you go and you take a warm shower and they just slowly turn it to cold and just do some breathing, you come out of there like you're just like, you just want to take on the world. It's just that little extra add-on. It's absolutely been, I don't know, it's incredible. Yeah. Yeah. So when you've got a book, you have a book, right? And your book, I've got your name of your book right here.
I do.
Walk your way to better. So yeah, I want to tell us a little bit about the book, or have we already talked about it?
Sure. No, actually, the book is not exactly about walking,
Awesome.
though I'm working
Ah.
on something new. But the book is not about walking.
Hmm.
The book is about slowing down to give ourselves the opportunity to think about the things that I think we all need to spend a little bit more time thinking about. And exactly to your point, there are many of us, myself included, like if you say, just sit for half an hour and think about what you want out of your life, like that's preposterous. That is never going to happen. So the book is 99 thought starters of things that I think we really should spend some time thinking about. And what I ask my readers to do is read a section one at a time, and then take that thought, that idea, that story, that prompt out with you on a walk, and give your brain the opportunity to really percolate and the freedom to think about the things that I think are most important. Because most of us, as you clearly well know, we're just running through our days trying to get to the end of the to-do list. And listen, I mean, I'm right there with you. Like I wake up every day to a to-do list and I'm like, there is no way this is going to get done today. Like I know it going in, right? I make a list for myself and I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And for me, honestly, the one of the only times that I get that mental time and space to process, to percolate, to brainstorm, to think creatively is when I'm out walking. So this is really, the book is really an exercise in here are 99 things that I think most of us should give ourselves the opportunity to think about a little bit.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. That actually really helps. It's a little, conversation starter with yourself when you're,
Exactly right.
when you head out and, well, we'll have to check that out for sure. Hey, Def. Actually, yeah, have you got any more little tips or points you want to share, Joyce, before we wrap it up here? I realize like is that right? Like almost an hour. This is
Uh,
great.
yeah, I think perhaps the most valuable takeaway for
Yeah.
your audience is really around this idea that taking time to walk is a gift that you can give yourself that will actually effectively give you more time, both on a
Right.
day-to-day basis and in the bigger picture. And that clearly, Nigel, is like a lesson you learned in your life, like stepping
Yeah.
away somehow manages to give you more time, which seems so counterintuitive to the way we're
Mhm.
all living.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It
and
does.
gosh, I think that's the message that everybody should at least try.
Yeah.
Try to figure out
Step
for
away and
themselves.
you gain so much clarity on your life, everything, whatever you're dealing with. You know, if you just step away and have some time for yourself, which is so difficult. And yeah, no thanks. That's fantastic. Yeah, Dev.
Yeah,
Got
no,
any
that's pretty much it. I think if we're all good, we can wrap it on that.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you all
That's good.
so much for stopping by today. It was an amazing show. Thank you, Joyce, so much for being on the show. And we'll put all the links to everything that she's got going on in the description of the video, TEDx speeches, her book, the podcast, all that stuff. Once again, thank you so much to the sponsors of this episode. If you liked it, like, share, and subscribe. Other than that, Joyce, thank you so much again for being on the show. It means a lot to me and my dad. So, and have an absolute fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you guys so much. So nice to hang out with you today.
Yeah. I got to go head out for a walk.
Yeah. Right. Going.
Bye, guys.
See you later.
Thank you so much.